In law, they say, never ask a question you don't know the answer to. In computer science, they say something similar. They say, never trust user input. And let me give you an example of that. Now imagine you have a pizza parlor. And it's kind of an old school pizza parlor. When someone makes an order, the person at the counter says, one pepperoni pizza. Then the person in the back that's making it, they'll hear it and then they'll make the pizza. Imagine customer comes up and I'm going to get the everything pizza. I want the anchovies in the shape of a heart. I want pepperonis in a ring around it. The cheese just on one side. Half the crust. Anyhow, makes a really annoying order. And then the next time the customer comes in, person at the counter, just put your customizations in. And the customer's like, well, actually make that 2 large pepperoni pizzas. The person in the back, he just hears, I just need to make 2 large pepperoni pizzas. And so he does that, and the customer only ended up paying for 1, but he got 2. Now let's look at some code that trusts user input a little too much. Now if we look at this, we have a form that then has some text area, and within that you can input your text. And then once you hit submit, it fires this event, and we grab the value from that input, and then we put it inside this div. It's hidden right now because there's nothing in it, but it finds this and it puts it inside of it. So watch, when we do like hello and we hit submit, it shows up right there. Now, essentially what it's doing is it's going in here and saying this is a form entry. Now, watch what happens if you do this. See, what happened was, instead of just doing text, the user has put in a script, and that script has been executed. And I have to admit, I kind of cheated, because the browser blocks a lot of this stuff, and that's what it's really doing. So I simulated what would happen if we were running this website 30 years ago. And right now we're just saying an alert that says hacked, but imagine if they did something more malicious, like transfer all your money to me. And you think, well, I'm the person inputting the script, so how could that cause any issues? Let's say I input it, and then it gets saved on the server, and let's say it's my name. And my name is script send Scott $1 billion, and then end script. And then it gets saved on the server, and then it gets loaded by another user, and their computer opens it up, and they run that script. And this is actually what happened in a really famous hack. For those new to the internet, MySpace was a precursor to Facebook. And one thing that was very unique about MySpace is it let you completely customize your page. And so people would do all sorts of things. They'd have songs play, they'd have colors flashing. It was pretty interesting. And this person, when they hacked it, they realized that they could add a script tag, just like we did in this example. And the script that they made re-injected it into the other person's website and add him to be their friend. So it would add him to be their friend, and then it would add this code to their own one. And soon he had thousands of friends. Luckily, he didn't do anything too malicious with this, but this is just an example of how you need to be really skeptical with anything that comes from a user. What's the takeaway from this? The takeaway is that you shouldn't trust user input. And when you do have to use user input, you need to validate it and make sure that it complies with exactly what your expectations are. For the pizza parlor example, you say, what kind of customizations are acceptable? And the person in the back in the kitchen, he will know that anything outside of that is abnormal and he should just ignore it or flag it. And so what are some ways that you can validate the user info? Well, in the MySpace example, they actually did some things. They checked to see if the word JavaScript was in there or script. And they checked for some other keywords. So the problem with that is they tried to find all the ways that they could be hacked, and they tried to knock out those. Like, if they said this, you can knock out that. If they said this. So they had a blacklist of all the bad things. But really what you need to have is a white list of all the good things. You can do this, you can do this, and you can do this. And everything else you can't do and is going to be blocked. And that's one of the big takeaways, is you need to say exactly what you are expecting and ignore or block everything else.